Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm me, Rob, and a happy Monday to all you out there.
Happy Monday.
Yay, Monday fun day.
So today, guys, we're going to be tackling the biggest name in tackles in the NFL draft here. Now, before we start that, though, before we do that, let's see if we can get this done right. Because, you know, every time I go to share something, it just never wants to work out correctly here. But we're going to try here. Oh, look at this. Look at this.
Oh, snap. Getting right into it.
You guys asked. You asked for us to go ahead and finish our store, get that rolling. We have officially gotten the store rolling. So we got all kinds of stuff here. We got notepads. We got a towel even. You can go wipe your butt on the Two Giant Goofballs here. You got bucket hat. You got mouse pad, phone covers, hats, stickers, candles even. I got to say the candles I like here. One is emergency use for when Dallas fans come over. Get rid of their stench.
Yeah.
So
that stench.
We got shirts. We got it all here, guys. And the big thing is, a lot of y'all asked about cups specifically here. So, yes, we do have cups, including cups of giant feet stomping out eagles that may be from Philadelphia and perhaps a cowboy that may be from Dallas. All kinds of fun stuff there. So check it out, guys. You know, if you got any suggestions for something you specifically want us to go ahead and put up, if there's something like, hey, I wish you guys had one of blank, let us know. We're happy to add things on. But like I said, you guys asked for it specifically last time we were on here, and I took that this weekend and said, you know what, I got to do that. Got to give the people what they want. So also putting the link here on YouTube and Twitch. It comes up automatically, as does Facebook. Unfortunately, the other platforms we cannot put it up here. Actually, Facebook took it down already, so screw Facebook. So YouTube, as always, the best place to go. But yeah, again, guys, don't feel obligated. The show is still free. But by all means, happy to put that up. And if somebody wants to help support us, but that way, we're happy to go ahead and help that as well. So, all right, let's get Jason. Oh my God, who wrote those books? It's a notepad, actually. It's a notepad. So
it's blank, so I wrote it. Wow.
Wow. So yeah.
Took me a long time.
It took you a long time to write the cover. Oh my God. Anyway, let's get right into the top offensive tackles here of the draft, because I feel like this is a group that every single year we have to talk about, not just because Rob and I go over every single group every year, but because of the fact that, let's be very frank, this has been a position of need for the past 70 plus years. It seems like now, like it's just we've needed tackles forever. You could still make the case that we need a tackle now because, again, we've drafted. So we've signed a couple of guys to be swing tackles that, quite frankly, don't have the best resumes there. We go ahead and also look at like guys who can replace them. We want to replace Josh Azudu. Obviously, he's been on there for how many years now, and just point blank needs to either get a shot at guard or go away. Not trying to be rude, but it's the truth. So let's look at guys who could potentially come in and maybe play right tackle, move Illuminor into guard at that point and help improve the line that way, or maybe go ahead and just have a swing tackle guy, a developmental guy, because it is Illuminor's last year on contract. Plus, let's be honest, Andrew Thomas has a little bit of a tendency to get hurt. So,
sadly,
having depth is very good, though obviously we want him healthy. Point blank, we want him healthy. So, all right, let's get into our number one tackle here. And I got to say, I think our number one tackle is a little bit different than a lot of other lists as far as that. And listen, as usual, we do things a little different around here. Armand Membou is our number one tackle here out of
Membou.
Missouri. The Show Me State here. 6'3", 314 pounds, 21 years old from Lee's Summit, Missouri. 35 career games overall. This past season, 12 games, got a 90.6 PFF grade, second team All ACC. And this kid's strictly a right tackle. He's played literally every single snap at right tackle in his college career, except for one at left guard. Randomly one snap at left guard.
That one snap to snap them all.
Oh, snap. Athletic, 2-year starter, agile. Does have some hand placement issues, though. Is a little bit smaller there as well there. I don't mean as far as weight. 314 is not bad, but height-wise, you kind of want a 6'5" kind of guy at that point. They're typically at that point for a tackle. So he does have trouble with some longer arm, strong rushers specifically. It's a weird combo like that, but the guys who specifically have the long arms and just bull rush you. You saw him have a little bit of trouble on tape with that. I do think he's going to be probably a mid-first round pick. I do think he's a guy that probably won't be the first tackle off the board. I'm going to tell you that right now. But I think he will develop into the best tackle in this draft overall. Keep in mind, 2-year starter. A lot of the guys we're going to talk about in a minute, 3-year starters. He's got a little less ability. So you can't really compare him to the guys right now. You got to compare him to the guys last year. And last year, these guys weren't going to be first-round picks necessarily. Membou is. He's got that kind of talent. And this is going to be, I'll tell you guys right up front, this is going to be a crapshoot draft for tackles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times you go into, there's a lot of good tackles. There's not a lot of good tackles this draft. On top of that, a lot of the ones that are good are guys going to move into guard probably. Membou is a guy who legit is going to play right tackle. And he's going to have to have a little bit of patience with him in the beginning. Fix some of the issues with the hand placement. Fix some of the technique issues overall. But I think he's going to develop into a damn good right tackle.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Let's get into who a lot of people have as their number one. Who we're like I said, we're going to do things a little different here, okay? Because again, we're not that show that just does what everybody else does here. And that's Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, number 2. And again, a lot of people have him as their number 1. Like I said, played for Texas, 6'4", 320 pounds, 21 years old, from Humble, Texas. Very humbling. 42 career games overall. In 22, he was a freshman All-American, second team All-Big 12. 23, first team All-Big 12. 24, 15 games played, 86.2 PFF grade, Outland Trophy winner, Lombardi Trophy, and not the one you're thinking, the college version, Jacobs Blocking Trophy, unanimous All-American, and first team All-SEC. And he has played strictly at left tackle. So he is a guy that is, like I said, your blindside kind of blocker there. Is athletic. He's got good technique. He got a 3-year starter and a 3-year starter at Texas. So it's not like he's playing the powder puff teams there. Strong hands, sustains blocks pretty well. Does have some balance issues. And he's a little bit smaller too as well. Again, we talked about with Membou. Here's the problem I have. Membou plays right tackle. You can get away with a little bit of size issues on right tackle. It's a little more of an issue on the left side, I feel like. And there's some people who think just based on the way that Banks plays, that he's a guy you're going to go ahead and start at tackle. And kind of like an Evan Neal kind of situation. I know I'm trying to put that on Banks, like hopefully he has a better start to his career than Neal has. But if he fails, you may end up seeing him moving in to the guard position. There's some people who think point blank he's better suited as a guard. I disagree with that. I think give them a chance to tackle. Let's see what he does first. But because of that is why I put him at the number 2 position for me, because Membou, I feel like, is going to play right tackle right off the bat and have no problem playing the position. Banks, a little bit more of an issue there. You hear the rumblings at that point there. And again, you heard the same rumblings with Neal. And I hate to loop the two together like that. I'm just trying to give Giants fans an idea of that kind of stuff, because that's what you heard with Neal coming out. But overall, Kelvin Banks is going to be, I think, a damn good football player. It's just a matter of where he goes to play and where he's better suited at. But he'll probably be the first lineman taken off the board overall.
You're probably right. Because what did he give up? I think he was responsible for giving up 3 sacks.
Yeah, it's
last season. Yeah.
Well, that's his whole career, I believe.
Yeah, his whole career.
I can look up the stats there on that one, and now you got me.
Yeah,
looking things up here,
it's
doing
pretty
work,
impressive because
you're here.
You're talking about his size and he's 6'4" compared to that 6'3" when you talk about 4. He's a little bigger than Membou, but
yeah, but again, left tackle, right tackle. That's part of the
very
issue.
Different. Yep.
I got his stats up here for you. So in 538 pass blocking snaps, 1 sack, 2 QB hits, 7 hurries. Like I said, damn good stats. And the year before, 550 snaps, 1 sack, 1 hit, and 10 hurries. So again, he's been solid across the board. I feel like, again, he's going to be a good player. It's just a matter of, can he fit in at left tackle, or will his issues with how he plays and some of the, like I said, some of the size issues be there, because it's not far off from the right size you want. You only want another inch or 2, and it affects everything. I know people are thinking like an inch or 2. Is that a big deal? How many times do you hear about that with quarterbacks? How many times do you hear about that with wide receivers? Like,
sometimes, if you know how to move it, you can give up an inch or 2.
Yeah. Oh my. Anyway, next.
Talking football here. What are you talking about?
Next up, the guy that doesn't have any size issues here, Will Campbell. 6'6", 323 pounds, 21 years old, from Monroe, Louisiana. 37 career games overall. Second team All SEC in 22. First team All SEC in 23. This past year, 12 games, 72.2 PFF grade. First team All SEC, consensus All-American, Jacobs blocking trophy winner. Only played left tackle his entire college career. 3-year starter in the SEC. That's one thing I love right there. You're talking about playing the best of the best of the best, sir. That's where we're at there. Good off the snap, great footwork, strong grip overall with a good punch, gets to the second level well, and smart. Here's the problems, though. I said good punch a minute ago, and he does have a really good punch, strong punch. But it's a little inconsistent as far as his placement at times. He also has trouble with inside moves, and he also has shorter arms than you'd like at that point there. For a 6'6" guy, I'm not saying he's T-Rex over here, but he's definitely a little shorter arms. This is another guy that some people do believe is going to have to move into guard. And again, I'm of the mindset of, you bring a guy into camp, you see what he can do. Ball player's a ball player. You find a spot for him. I mean, that's where I look at it as. But there are, like I said, there's a lot of guys in this draft that people think may have to go ahead and play that position. And part of what it is, besides his arm length there, is just the way he plays. He does have a little bit of trouble sometimes setting that edge and stopping a guy from getting around. It's just, a little bit with the arms is why people do think that there, but you do see it on tape where all of a sudden he kind of lunges to somebody to try to stop them and has a little trouble doing that. I still think it'll be a mid-first round pick. I think this will be one of those scenarios, again, that somebody who needs offensive line helps. And they say, you know what? I need an offensive lineman. I'll figure it out. Let me bring him in. I'll figure it out. 3 years in the SEC. We'll figure it out. That's about as proven as you get coming into this draft.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair enough. I mean, he's definitely have a lot of scouting looking around him. Like, just doing some small research, you can see that there's plenty of teams that are interested in him. Like, top 3, just thinking off like that I saw before was, you had the Patriots, Jets, and I believe it was Seattle.
I think the Patriots would be a little early for. I think the Jets just know they need lineman help no matter what. They're going to take whatever they think is the best lineman.
I was saying,
just
today doing research, you saw different articles from those organizations just write about this guy.
Yeah. And like I said, I think a lot of it is the fact that you got a guy, again, 3 years in the SEC that's proven.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of now, where does he fit? And again, you're going to see
not many places
lot.
that size.
You're going to see a lot, I think, of these kind of guys, tackles in college that are going to have to move inside. I almost wanted to change it up and say, here's guys who actually we think will play tackle. But we run into that problem. You just never know. We had the same problem we talked about centers. We talked about guys who played center, not guys who projected as a center. So, we're going to go into one soon that literally was a guard for a lot of his college career. Had to play tackle this year because of injury. So it happens. So let's talk about the guy who got injured he had to replace. And that's Josh Simmons out of Iowa State. And here's a guy that I feel like I don't think he's getting enough talk for what he does. I really don't. So he started off his career at San Diego State back in 22. He goes then to Iowa State and flat out balls out. This year, until he got hurt, you could have said easily he would have been the top tackle in this entire draft. But he only played this year in 6 games. He got 32 career games overall. A little later than some of the guys we talked about here. Again, got the injury, got 3 years overall. Only had a year and a half at Ohio State there. This past year, 6 games, 74.4 PFF grade, 3rd team all Big Ten. Again, 3rd team because he played half a season. His PFF grade, honestly, is a lot lower than what I saw on tape. There are times PFF is a great gauge of talent, especially for things that you can't see on stat line, like blocking is one of them. But nothing beats the eye test. When I watched the eye test to him, I thought he played a lot better than a 74.4 grade. I said he's played left tackle at Ohio State, was right tackle at San Diego State, so he's shown he can do most, either one. Knee injury is what he had. That's what kind of scares people, is a torn patellar tendon. So, not an ACL like most Giants there.
He might have hit the groove.
That's
it.
I feel like the medical is the big thing with this. You got to really have your medical team look over his profile, look over any kind of imaging you can get your hands on, and take a look and see what's going on and make a decision from there. He's probably the best pass protector in this entire draft. He's that good as far as that. He's agile, he's strong, recovers well, he gets to the second level, but he's still, like I said, somewhat raw. He only played a year and a half at left tackle.
He did, but he also has a really good football IQ. He knows the depth, in that pocket. He knows his surroundings in there. When it comes to pass rushing, sometimes when it comes to, helping the rusher, if you will, he kind of blocks lanes. Yeah.
By the way, Jake Bush patellar is the worst by far. Exactly, it is. Like I said, I'm not suggesting this is a minor injury whatsoever. As you said, also that's the one that ended Victor Cruz. Yes, it was. No more salsa dancing after that. That's why I'm saying you gotta go ahead and get the right medical staff to look at this and give you a good educated guess. And you're gonna take a little bit of a gamble if you take this kid. He's also just have some troubles mechanically. He has trouble sustaining blocks. He has issues picking up stunts at times. But again, you look at purely the best pass blocker in this draft, it's Josh Simmons. And if you trust the medicals and you think that he's a guy that can do it, he can play either side of the tackle. He's probably going to go late first. I think he can even drop in the second because of the injury, which is a shame. I always hate to hear a kid lose out on potential millions of dollars because of the fact that he got hurt.
Yeah, but it's hard to say. Just like Jake said, the patellar is one of the hardest to come back from. Yep. But at the same time, it's depends how bad it was. Most ACLs surgery, anytime you tear an ACL or slight tear, it takes you off for a full year. Sometimes people recover faster from patellar.
So what they're saying, because keep in mind, this was back in October. He had this. So he is apparently ahead of schedule of his recovery and is said to be ready for NFL training camp when that comes around. And that's according to his agent, who also said, of course, he'd be a high first-round pick. I'm not so sure about that one, that's for sure. And he's got teams bringing him in for draft visits and stuff like that. You can see it all over the place. The teams that need, help at the tackle position. So, again, you're going to have to really look at the physical part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
you might want to bring him in and take him for an MRI after you're done bringing him in. Make sure everything's still connected.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, and again, he's young. That's part of it. You got to look at the fact that he's a college kid. when you're that age, you recover a lot quicker than a guy who's even his late 20s. So, which is what Victor Cruz when he had that kind of injury. So
exactly, and he's at the height of his athletic career.
Yeah,
being that young.
Yeah, I was at the height of my beer pong career at that point myself. But,
Pretty much. Actually, I had a couple more years. I hung around for a while.
There you go. All right. Next up, every single draft has a couple of small school kids. This one's got two, but this guy's got one that's really high rated, and that's because what he showed at the Senior Bowl when he looked really good against competition. I love Senior Bowl kind of stuff because you get to see people that you don't necessarily see against higher level competition, like Gray Zabel we're going to talk about here, and you see how they do, and he looked really good. So Zabel's coming out of North Dakota State. I'm sorry, South Dakota State. Oop. I got San Diego State in my notes here. You can tell I'm just like, I was drunk when I was writing that, apparently.
Well then.
And it's like, again, the Dakotas in general, when it comes to the smaller schools, and listen, we got, one this year ourselves at that point there. North Dakota and South Dakota both typically put out good good players there, one or two each draft. And it was North Dakota, by the way. I'm totally miswriting this. I need sleep and coffee, goddammit. 6'6", 305 pounds, 23 years old, from Pierre, South Dakota. 44 career games overall. In this past season, 16 games. First team FCS All-American. First team All-MVFC. And what's weird is he's played all over the place. He's that guy that you can just kind of plug and play anywhere on the line. 704 snaps at left tackle, 363 at left guard, 14 at center, 3 at right guard, and 1,064 at right tackle. He's literally like the Swiss Army knife guy. If you're looking for that kind of player, this is the guy. Now, he also worked out center a lot over in the Senior Bowl as well. And, yeah, you got a guy who point blank was trying to find a place to fit in because he's probably not going to play a tackle because he's got shorter arms. And he's shown, based on how he did the Senior Bowl, that he's going to be the humble kid and point blank play whatever you need him to play.
Yeah.
I love those kind of kids at the line.
He's one of those quintessential team players that will move to positions and where he can play because he's he's pretty athletic for what he is, but he's got good football IQ. He definitely sees how the line's moving and how the defense is operating, which helps him be able to move around that line.
Yeah, and again, he's done it in college. That's what I love about this. You got a kid who literally has played everywhere in college. Like, when you're looking for somebody who can plug and play anywhere, if you're a team that has tons of holes in the offensive line, let's be honest, guys, we've had that plenty of times as Giants fans. I don't think we necessarily have that right now, luckily. But, I feel like, as Jay tries to compare him to Isaiah Simmons here, so we have a bunch of Swiss Army knives Isaiah Simmons. No, I'm saying Nick Gates level of that kind of Swiss Army knife kind of guy, but a better version of him. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like this kid's going to be, where you can just plug and play him wherever you need him, and he's going to do a decent job at it. And I think he's legit first round talent here, coming out of that small of a school. You don't really see that very often. He wins the pad level battle very well. He's got great timing. He processes things well. Great in space. Again, he's got shorter arms. And that's why I do think he's going to probably move more inside, be guard center kind of guy. And he's, like I said, he's probably going to go late first round, maybe drop to the second, but I doubt it. I can even see a team liking him enough to go ahead and move up to the middle of the first round and get him kind of scenario. But I think late first round is where his talent actually should be. But again, this is a draft where it's a potluck offensive line. And it's not going to be where people go where they should because of your opinion, my opinion, or anybody else's opinion. people are going to go where teams think they should go.
Going for desperation and what they need.
But what I mean is like my cup of tea is not your cup of tea kind of scenario. You know what I mean? Like there's somebody who's going to love this kid because of his hard work ethic, because of the fact he can play anywhere, and they just love that lunch pail mentality he's got. There's somebody else who's going to go, you know what? I want that lean, zone kind of blocking scheme kind of guy. And that's not what this guy is. And that's why I'm saying this all depends on what your cup of tea is.
Yeah.
So, like I said, give me the old school guy. That's what this is. 100%. So, all right. Next up. Potentially one of the hardest to say names in the entire NFL draft here. Rob. No, I'm kidding.
RE10 Surrey. I'm hooked on phonics.
Ariante Ersery. There you go. I got you. Out of Minnesota, 6'6", 330 pounds, from Kansas City, Missouri. Now, occasionally we get this, and it drives me crazy when I don't see this, but I didn't find any age for him whatsoever. Now, I'll always give you the heads up, because every year we do this, I get one or two people at least per position, not even per position. Like, oh, you were off on his height by 1 inch, or hey, you were off by his weight by 10 pounds. I don't like to go to the combine weights and all that kind of stuff because I don't trust a lot of that stuff, because people change their weight for what they want to prove and show in the combine. I want to do here what your playing weight was in college. Even if it's off by a little bit, I trust that more than I trust what happens at the combine. But the age, give me the age. That can't change from place to place, to site to site. Nobody listed it that I found. Now, he started school in 2020 in college, so probably about 23 years old, you figure. That's probably where we're looking at there. So 38 career games overall. Played 12 games last season there with a 77.5 PFF grade. Almost exclusively played left tackle, except 3 snaps at left guard and 7 at right tackle. But he's been a 3-year starter overall at left tackle. Strong, holds his ground, great arm length, great punch, good footwork, great puller. Hand placement is an issue. And again, we talk about every single group has like 1 or 2 things that you hear a lot of issues on. Hand placement is always an issue, I feel like, for college linemen.
Yeah.
That's one of those things you hear nonstop there at that point. Kind of like pass protection is for running backs coming out of college. I don't know what it is. Just certain things they just don't teach them in college. He does have also trouble sustaining his blocks at times. He also leans in at times, and when you lean, you make yourself off balance. But he's got the size that teams are going to want. He's going to need a little bit of time to kind of round out some of those issues as far as the leaning, the hand placement. These are all technique issues that can be fixed if he's coachable. And that's where the interview process is going to come in. You have to see is he able to go ahead and take direction well? And that's something, unfortunately, Rob and I have no way of knowing. That's something that you're going to have to be the guy in the NFL talking to this man to find out if that's the case.
Sometimes it takes getting him into the locker room.
Yeah. And I think someone's going to fall in love with that size. And I think because of that, he's going to go first round, probably late first round. I hope whoever takes him has that level of patience with him, because to have someone step in that's got technique issues at the left tackle position day one, that's asking for trouble.
Oh, yeah.
He probably needs some time to sit till he start the season, if not get the whole season. Give him a chance to actually develop. Don't throw him out to the fire. If you give him a chance to develop, he may very well succeed. I think if you throw him out there early, he's going to have trouble.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that about a lot of these college kids coming up.
Yeah.
But, no, he definitely is the guy that needs to be coached a little bit before he can play.
Yeah.
And maybe not the whole season, but you definitely want to baby him towards the beginning.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
We said that about Drew Phillips last year. Look how he blossomed right off the bat. So who knows?
Touche. Let's say a little snap count. Give him some talent. See what he does in there.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have the count, obviously, at camps. You're going to have the count over for him in preseason. You get a good idea of how good he is and how much he's improved by then. So they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All righty. Next up, Josh Connerly Jr. out of Oregon. One of those. I don't know which way you want to call it. There's a trail somewhere. Someone's got dysentery. But 6'4", 315 pounds, 21 years old, from Seattle, Washington. Was the 2021 Anthony Munoz Award winner for Best Offensive Lineman in high school, 41 career games. This past year, 14 games, 78.3 PFF grade, first team All-American, first team All-Big Ten. Almost entirely played the left tackle situation there. It was kind of similar to what we just talked about a minute ago. 3 snaps at left guard, 3 at right guard, 2 snaps at right tackle. So he's played elsewhere.
He's versatile.
He's shown willingness to be versatile, but he's played 99% of his snaps at that left tackle position. What's interesting is he actually started off his college career as a running back. That's interesting because you don't really come across that very often, I feel like. But yeah, he decided to go ahead and start as a running back and developed in as an offensive lineman. Actually, I should correct myself. Started high school as a running back and turned into an offensive lineman. I don't know if he was on the Eddie Lacy program. We have to do our usual Eddie Lacy talk here.
Yeah.
But he just got so big that it's made him a left tackle. I mean, let's be honest. When you're in high school, you're still growing.
Well, you think you're a freshman. How big were you as a freshman? I mean, I was still big.
Oh, my God. I was 104 pounds as a freshman.
Yeah, but you're also 6 foot. So you're.
I was not at the time. I was 5'10", 104 pounds. That's how bad I was. It was bad. It was bad. Someone needed to throw a sandwich at me.
Yeah. I was like 5'7", 5'5" or something like that. Like a fluffy 200 pounds.
Fluffy. I was, like I said, because I know you did as well, wrestling, so you kind of know your weight from that. That's one reason I know it's 5'10", 104 pounds my freshman year. So, I mean, it's you don't know what kid's going to develop. I was the reverse. They tried to make me into an offensive tackle and a defensive end in high school because they thought I was going to grow. And then they realized my sophomore year that I did grow and got to 130 pounds. So I wasn't still nowhere near big enough to be a tackle and a defensive end. So that's when they moved me to safety and wide receiver. But it's like, you never know. And this is a kid who just kept on growing and growing and growing. And, 315 pounds, he's still a little bit light. He's still probably also, you could say, learning the position to a certain degree because he hasn't been playing in his whole life like that. But he's very athletic. He's got good footwork. He does a pretty good job in pass protection of keeping the pocket clean there. Gets to the second level well, gets under pads, which is something I love to see. You don't see that very often when they go into that kind of motion when you're newer to the position, when you're still learning this kind of stuff there. So that tells me he's got some good coaching behind him. He's got some good form going. Does have some balance issues. And really the biggest thing for him is I feel like he needs to add lower body strength. I don't want to say chicken legs going on there, but it's like when you watch the way he plays, his pop is good. And then you look at the way he does to drive people, that's where he seems to have more of the issues. And that's why, like I said, good at pass blocking. He needs a little work on the run blocking. And I think that's what it is. He's got to hit the leg day a little more often.
You would think as a running back, you would come in there with a little stronger lower half. He's got flat through everyone.
It was a few years ago now. Also, wow. Listen now. John says, "Hey Drew, I guess you ate a lot of sandwiches since freshman year, big fella." LOL. Listen, I'm 250 pounds now. It happens, okay? It happens to the best of us. I got a little bit of dad bod going on. It's all right. It's all right. I'm also in my 40s. Whoa. Look at it. There we go. Do the truffle shuffle here for you.
I'm just saying, you're like 7'8".
I'm 6'8", not 7'8". Okay, let's not exaggerate here. 6'8". 250 pounds. That's not too shabby. That's not horrendous. I wouldn't say I'm, svelte at that point, but
do you know Butterbean?
He says, Jay says, nah, Drew is training in Florida with Micah McFadden now. Because now, I do actually, Micah McFadden was actually on Giants Rush. So we'll give them a plug for that. It was a good episode. And I found out he trains like 5-10 minutes down the road from where I live.
Science calling.
I knew he was a Tampa guy, but but I didn't know much beyond that there. He gave too much information out, apparently. We can go stalk him at his training place now. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm kidding. Restraining order get lifted soon. No worries.
I was about to say, now it's all over all these platforms.
I know. I was kind of shocked he gave that out there. Edit it out, Giants Rush guys. Don't get him in trouble. But yeah, as Jason's time for the daily name. I'm not that bad at name dropping. Stop it. So anyway, back to the actual football talk here.
Yeah, as John comes to saying, yeah, you got that right. 6'8".
Oh my God.
ATE.
Anyway, I think Josh is going to end up as being a second-round pick guy. I think someone's going to see the pass protection work and like that. They're going to think they can develop into a better all-around tackle, but he's going to need some time with that potentially there. Or you'd have to have some patience with him as he develops. I don't think it's as big an issue throwing him out right off the bat because he got the pass protection part of it down, and that's the harder thing to teach, I feel like, than it is just the run blocking. But again, he's going to have to add a little weight there to the lower body there. Get a little more leg strength there going.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be fine with time. I really do.
BK 5,000. Beefcake.
Keep in mind, Oregon, as much as they are a team that always has a decent running back every single year, they're predicated to be a passing offense. That's what they focus on. So the fact that he's very good at what they focused on tells you he's probably coachable. So like I said, if we needed a tackle, we kind of do. Second round pick might be a little high for my blood for him just because of the fact that the Giants have a lot of needs before we go there. But if you have a team that needed a potential starter, a guy that can develop into a long-term answer for us at left tackle, could do a lot worse than Josh Connolly Jr. there. So, all right, let's get into a guy that we talked about, kind of hinted at before. We said these are the list of people who played tackle this year, not people who need to be tackles in the NFL. I said there was a guy who literally took over for Josh Simmons when he got hurt that probably will go back to guard again in the NFL. And that's this guy here, Donovan Jackson. Well, I think we've actually mocked to us before even. There's a couple of guys here we've actually mocked to. We're going to come into here soon. Donovan Jackson at Ohio State, 6'4", 320 pounds, 22 years old, from Houston, Texas. 40 career games overall. This past season, 14 games, 71.8 PFF grade. Again, I'm not worried about the PFF grade being low with him because he's playing out of position this whole entire year. 30, great length for a guard, not for a tackle. Maintains blocks, athletic enough to pull. Got better at left tackle as the season went on as well. Initial punch, though, is a little bit late for him, I feel like. He's also sluggish when in motion at times there. So, meaning he can pull, not his strength. There's some guys you don't want him ever pulling. Point blank, you don't want him ever pulling. Like I remember when Will Hernandez was a Giant, we're like, no, you stay there. You don't go anywhere. He can do it. It's just not his greatest. He does have also trouble lining up with second level targets. In other words, if you're in a run scheme here and you go, okay, your job, go get the linebacker. These guys got the tackles. You should be freed up and get that second level guy. He has a little trouble hitting the right angle to get to him as quick as possible. That's something I feel like he should be a little better than he is now. So I'm not sure it would be a strength, but I feel like he can improve, or you just scheme around it. Say, you know what? This is not the guy we're going to put to the second level. It's not a requirement for him to be doing it. He's probably best, as I said, as a guard. You could have him as a guy who plays guard, that you could put him out at tackle if you really need to because of injuries, whatever the case may be. But I would try to keep him at guard personally. He is going to be probably a second round draft pick. I feel like that's probably the right spot for him overall to go. And he's a guy that comes in with a lot of a lot of talent, a lot of experience at Ohio State. He was first team All-American in 2024. He was a 3-time All Big Ten team member as well. 3 times, 22, 23, and 24. So again, I know some people would look at some of the tape in this past year and get a little scared off from him, but he was playing out of position. Go back and watch his 23 tape. Go watch even his 22 tape. I think you'll be a lot more impressed than what he did this past year.
Yeah.
Where he didn't embarrass himself, but didn't look great either at times. So that's what happens when you're playing out of position. Again, 2nd-round pick, I think he'll be, and I think somebody will get a decent guard there coming into it. Well, wouldn't be shocked if the Giants even do. Listen, the guard is a spot that we could be looking to go ahead and upgrade. We have Greg Van Roten there. We have, not much as far as depth. We got Aaron Stinney again, who did look great. We had him in last year. So, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to go ahead and get a guy like this. All righty. Next up, we're going to do one more, then we're going to break here real quick. As real quick, Jay says, you guys doing draft night coverage? Of course, we're doing draft night coverage.
Oh, yeah.
Every pick, day 1, every pick, day 2. And then day 3, we're going to do a show at some point, either Saturday night, Sunday morning. Rob and I got to talk about that one still there. We don't usually do that one live because, let's be frank, you guys are sick of us after, 4-5 hours that we do on Thursdays and Fridays with that stuff. Oh, my God. Rob and I are ready to pass that when that's done. So, yeah. So I would say maybe even Sunday morning might be better for that. But Rob and I got to talk about that and figure that out because we'll be exhausted Friday, Saturday night. That's all things done. So, all right. Next up, we got one of the most experienced guys in this entire list here, guys. So we got to get Jay's comment in. Jay keeps on trying to sneak more into the show here. Wyatt Millham out of West Virginia.
Wyatt?
It just sounds like a West Virginia name, right?
I was going to say it's a perfect.
It really does. And you know why? Because he's from Canova, West Virginia. 6'6", 317 pounds, 23 years old, 47 career games overall. In 23, he was 2nd team All Big 12. This past season, 11 games, a 91.0 PFF grade. Consensus All-American, Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year. First team All Big 12. So a lot of accolades to him. Probably one of the most decorated guys this year. All of his career snaps have been at left tackle, except for one random snap at right tackle in 23. So he's a 4-year left tackle starter. He's got no issues at all with stunts and twists, picks things up pretty well. He's aggressive. He's a good finisher. He's a strong anchor. Here's his issues he has. And this is where people start. Again, there's a lot of people in this draft that you go, can he play tackle at the next level? This is one of those guys because he tends to lunge forward at times instead of just keeping his feet moving and moving onto the outside in a lateral motion. His hands are also a little bit light as well. His placement is good. And it's right there where it needs to be. But just doesn't quite have, I don't want to say, lack of a better term, the fury that you want out of those hands.
He looks like a boxer doing a test jab instead of throwing a punch.
That's exactly what I mean. 100% dead on. He also has issues in space. And I don't mean outer space. I mean, literally, keep in mind, he's the last guy as a tackle. So when you're doing that lateral motion at that point to go get a guy, and you're now in space based on an island by yourself, that's when you see some of the issues he has there. Especially because, like I said, he'll start lunging. It's for whatever reason. He just seems to do it naturally. And you got to think that people at West Virginia have pointed this out to him. And he got away with it there at West Virginia. I'm not so sure he gets away with that in the NFL.
I was about to say, you probably don't make it in the NFL.
But if you notice, lateral movement, issues in space, where does that happen? At the tackle position. It doesn't happen at the guard position. That's why there's some guys who do think he needs to move into guard. And if he does that, you take away those issues. If he does that, you also see the fact that the stunts and twists things that he's very good at picking up, that kind of stuff, still comes in handy. You might want to see him a little better with his punch, a little as far as a stronger punch. To be very frank with you, you see it on video, but I don't know if it's a technique issue or a strength issue. But you see it. I think he's that guy that you probably put as like your fifth offensive lineman. Sorry, your sixth offensive lineman that can kind of be that six man of the year award winner kind of for the team that you can put in at tackle, you can put him at guard. Even if he doesn't settle into one of the starting spots like that, you can feel confident he's a guy who can step in and be where he's got to be while giving him a chance to go ahead and move to guard. Because I do agree that he probably will have to move into guard because of those issues. So I would kind of put him in the rookie camp, keep him at a tackle at that part, and see what you got. See if you feel confident you can fix the issues. If you can't, I'd move him into guard.
Yeah.
And start him in training camp at guard. Say, hey, when we come back to training camp, you're going to be moving into guard. Maybe reach out to a couple guys for some training techniques in the meantime. There's plenty of these former NFL players that do that all the time. Whatever team he goes to is going to have probably somebody like that he can work with, a former player. I think that's where he's probably headed down the line up there. And if that's the case, you're going to want to give him some time because he's used to playing tackle. Give him a chance to develop into being somebody who's going to be a guard because I think he's going to be good going. I really do. So we'll see what happens there. But like I said, day 2 pick is what I think. Second round, maybe slips into the third round if somebody's a little unsure of how he's going to transition to guard if they think somebody's going to have to. But I would have no problem with him being a round 2 pick personally.
Yeah, been late round 2. Like
I said, 4 years of experience.
Yeah,
you can sit there and pick apart some of the issues, but you can pick apart any prospect. But either way, I think at some point he's going to be a starter in this league. Probably his second year. You probably want to give him that year to develop into a guard if he has to. And that's it. So, all right.
Pretty fair.
Let's go ahead and pay the bills real quick, guys. And then we'll come back. Read some comments.
Ooh.
And then get back into the rest of these tackles here.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All righty, guys. Let's get a couple more comments here. So, John says, I read Campbell is not worth a first-round pick. That's, again, you're going to see a lot of mixture of things on this. Like I said, we have a guy at number 1 that a lot of people have at number 3. So, John said, of course they will do draft night. That's the one night Drew and Roberto both have wings, pizza, and beers, and maybe some shots. That's the one night?
Yeah, one night? Let's be real.
Seriously? Jay says, people from West Virginia seem to be pretty gnarly. That West Virginia is one of those schools that you get the occasional like lunch bell kind of player. Yeah. It's not about them just in the mountains drinking moonshine and attacking wild boar. Shit, I don't know.
With a pocket knife, Rambler
whatever
style.
They do in West Virginia, I don't know. I don't live there. That's way too rural for my taste. I like having space, but I want space near a city.
Yeah.
Like if I got to go, 1 hour to the local Piggly Wiggly, it's not the place for me.
No.
Not going to work.
It's okay. Yeah. It's around the corner. How far is it around the corner? Oh, about 45 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Around the corner.
That's a big corner.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We got 6 more to go here. Next up, we got Jonah Savanaya. Well, I may be mispronouncing slightly. I'm trying, guys. What there? I listened to like 5 different highlight reels to try to hear the guys talk about how to pronounce his names. I really want to be that guy who butchers the last name. I'm always paranoid to be that guy. Out of Arizona, 6'5", 336 pounds, 21 years old, from American Samoa. Went to high school though in Honolulu. 36 career games. In 24, he had 11 games at the 75.9 PFF grade. interesting mix of his snaps there overall. So he split his snaps at left and right tackle in 24, which makes me say automatically this guy's going to have some people interested for that reason alone. Versatility is one of those things that really is, I feel like, something that a lot of teams covet in the draft. Not because of the fact that just because he's a guy that could play a couple plug positions, but worst case scenario, if he doesn't pan out as a starter right off the bat and you have to put him on the bench, he can pop in a bunch of places. So again, split time of left and right tackle in 24. Overall for his career, he had 345 snaps at left tackle, 985 at right guard, and 1,057 at right tackle. So he's shown you the inside and outside versatility along with the left and the right in his career. He's got great size and strength, great burst out of his stance as well. There's some people just very good at just getting off the line right. That's what he did. Strong hands. Got some recovery issues, though. If he makes a mistake, he has a little trouble trying to fix that mistake there. And you're going to make mistakes, especially as a tackle. That's life. He's gets overly aggressive at times. He does have some issues overall with technique. And a lot of people are saying he will probably have to move into play guard as well. So this is another one that you're going to probably look at as a guy that's going to be an inside guy, even though he played outside last year there in college. I think he'll be a second-round pick. And I think there's going to be a lot of teams that are interested in because of the versatility he provides, because of the fact that you see good tape, and because of the fact that technique issues are things you can sometimes fix. Again, this is a guy that the interview process is going to be big on. You're going to have to see, can we coach him? Is he moldable? Can we fix the issues?
Yeah, or a team that's desperate for left or right tackle, like he move around.
Yeah, or just a team desperate for offensive line in general, because he's already shown he can play inside outside. So there's if there's one position teams are always desperate for, it's offensive line. I feel like that's one of those spots that always you're going to find teams desperate for. So somebody will take him. Like I said, probably take him in the second round. They're going to have to probably move him inside to guard. But I do think he's going to be a decent guard given the time and has the proper coaching.
That's fair. I think so.
All right. Next up, a guy we've actually mocked to us before, but I think it'd be interesting to pick up for us there because I actually like his tape. I think he can develop. Armand Membou from Purdue, 6'5", only 300 pounds, which I know sounds weird saying only 300 pounds, but the bird at tackle, that's extremely light. 22 years old. I didn't find his hometown, but he went to high school in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. I'm going to mispronounce the hell out of that one there.
Because it's Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. They got some good cheese there. 32 career games overall. He's a 3-time All Big Ten in 22, 23, and 24. Last year, he played 12 games, 74.0 PFF grade overall. His first team All-American, along with having first team All Big Ten. So, again, good resume overall. Played only at right tackle the last 2 years in 23 and 24. Played 647 snaps at right guard and 63 at right tackle in 22. So you see both the inside and outside as well in his college career. Really, though, has been going ahead and played mostly at the tackle position there the last couple of years. Good hand use, quick burst, pulls well. That's one thing I think with the weight, that's part of that. He's a very agile guy. Got good pop in the hands. We talked before about having that good pop. He's got a strong pop when you're doing pass protection there. He's aggressive, but he needs to add weight. Like, that's a definite right there. You cannot play tackle at 300 pounds in the NFL. Like, he's practically 20 pounds away from going down to a blocking tight end.
Pretty much.
And that's the biggest thing I want to see as he goes in for pro visits and stuff like that. Where does he actually end up being? Because I'm telling you right now, I'd be shocked if he shows up at that kind of weight. You know, I can tell you, when you look at places on him, everything I'm seeing here is 303 pounds. So that's That's what he weighed in at the combine. So he added 3 pounds. That's to me is a little bit of an issue. He also has trouble with hesitations and stutters from some of the quicker pass rushers and the anchor could be a little better, but I feel like the anchor issues, again, is just purely because of the weight. Really just think that. As Jay says, Drew would love Wisconsin, cheese and brats. I actually do like that. That actually sounds pretty good. He says, nice folks there. As Deb says, Jeffrey Dahmer was a Wisconsin guy. Wow. That took a dark turn there. And then Jay asked, what type of beers do we drink? What type of beers
not
do
to
we
say what
not
Dahmer's
drink?
liked.
But anyway, I think he's going to be a 3rd round pick for somebody. I think they're going to see what they like as far as you see the good film, you see the aggressiveness, you see the ability to do what he can do at 300 pounds and go, okay, what do we got to do to get this guy into beefcake and add some weight here?
Beefcake.
Like, that's what I feel like. And you're going to have to do one of 2 things. Either get him to add weight quickly, or you're going to have to say, you're going to have to make a decision here, guys. Do you want to play in this league? 300 pounds is not going to cut it. Because... yeah.
You gotta go to Jenny Craig and start catching the ball because you're gonna be a tight end.
Yeah, and you don't even know how he can catch. But I just like what I see on tape on him blocking. I like to see what to see it. I just don't think it's gonna work at 300 pounds in the NFL.
Yeah, it's very hard to get behind that.
And that's where I think, again, you're already seeing a little bit of struggles from the anchor issues and stuff like that. And I just think that you add him another 30 pounds on, which is asking a lot. 30 pounds is a lot of weight, guys. I think you put 30 pounds in this kid, he's probably a borderline 1st round pick. I really do think that. So, we'll see what happens, see what he can do, and see what people think. But if I'm an NFL team and I'm interested in him, I would sit there and say, you know what? Add some weight on. We want to see what you can do between the combine. If I'm somebody talking to him in the combine, and we're going to bring you in for a visit, let's see where you're at. Or I'm going to go see you at your pro day. Let's see where you're at. And I would challenge him like that. And if somebody did already challenge him, and when he went from 300 pounds playing weight as a senior to 303 at the combine, that is challenge not accepted.
No.
That's not good.
He did not get his Eddie Lacy Medal of Honor.
There's just something about the film on him I like. And I feel like you sometimes you take a shot. And this would be a take a shot, boom or bust kind of pick. So let's see here. John says they drink free beers. That's their favorite. I got to say, that is my favorite beer.
Yes. If it's free, it's for me.
And I'll take 3.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, this is a good time to do the buy me a coffee.
Yeah.
Since Ashley is listed as buy me a beer when you go to the website there. Let's see that Jace is free. Where do middle-aged dudes get free beers? Wow. First off, we're both taken men, therefore we don't get free beers from women. But in our single days, we were able to do it. And I still get free beers whenever I do live shows at bars. They pick up the tab for us.
I also work with restaurants a lot and different breweries, and they typically hook it up as well.
Yeah.
So are you off the clock? I usually go, I am now.
But that's like my favorite part of doing the some of the live shows at there, because we go in there and they're like, here you go, here's food, here's drinks. It's like, it's cool to go out people and like talk football live at a bar and get instant feedback from people like that. But that's one of the coolest parts for me. I love doing it. I'll have to set something up soon, actually, because I just found out that Sean Joker from Giants Rush actually lives near me. So I told him we'll have to do a show actually together at that point there. We can see there's actually, I told you about that bar over by USF that does all the Giants games. I'll tell you, it's a huge Giants crowd. It really is. Like, you go in, there's like 60 Giants fans, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but for a Tampa bar, that's a lot.
I was going to say.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a lot for a Tampa bar. So,
and you know what? It's not middle-aged dudes down there. It's a whole bunch of older people because they're retired. So, Drew, you're good.
Let's see. John says the old ladies at retirement home get secret deliveries. Rob, be into that, I bet. Closing deals. John says Drew likes the older ladies with experience. LOL. They're just called my age now. They're not called older ladies. They're just called my age. Andre said, "What's up, guys? Sorry if I'm late. I always forget about the time zone. It's 23:08 now for me. You guys do military time in Brazil, huh? I was unaware of that.
A lot of them, yeah.
Did they? Yeah. I bet it makes sense. That's 11:08. So yeah, he's an hour difference. That's it. That's not too bad. That's not too bad there. As Jay says, Viva Brazil. Roberto is his alibi. John says, Jay says, Rob is the maitre d' at Golden Corral.
Damn, dude.
That's how he knows Eddie Lacy's always there.
Yeah.
And Florida sounds like paradise for middle-aged people. Exactly. I'm so young here. I'm vibrant. You got to move over to the villages. That's where it's, like really, that's the older. You've been to the villages, Rob, I'm sure.
Oh, it's fantastic down there.
Yeah, it's literally like people driving around golf carts in their 70s and stuff like that, and like people have a bigger social calendar than I do. It's insanity.
Yeah, so my grandparents retired down there. It's fantastic, and they're one of the major highways. I think it's like 4 lanes on each side. They built this tiny golf cart bridge to go over that major highway.
Oh yeah,
so like
insanity.
So because it's so big, and like in order for it to work, it has to have huge arch on it. So you take your golf cart. Most of them are electric down there. It's going up. It goes.
Yeah. The biggest issue, though, in the village, the biggest issue is this:
the iguanas.
This the syphilis.
Yeah.
It's bad there. It's bad there. I've heard all kinds of stories of rumors of like guys in their 40s that were gigolos in successful places that I moved on to the villages to get the widowers. I remember going there one time. There was a big sign up about online dating. You may get more than you asked for. Oh my god!
I also haven't been there since my grandparents passed away, so things may have changed.
I was there a couple months ago.
It's been a few years.
Yeah, it's they were there back then.
Over 10.
You just didn't want to look. Grandparents. Yeah. You're like, I don't want to look. My syphilis.
Well, I was wondering why there's like one young guy surrounded by 4 old ladies at the pools.
Seriously, it happens all the time there. Like it's
and a different group of girls the next day. I was like, how does that happen?
It's called a business meeting.
Yeah.
Andre said, I've already spoken to Drew. Rob,
I'd
like to say
18 holes.
Very good sack Danny times in Madden. Jay says, what does fried gator taste like? It's called fried gator chicken. Bites first off, and it tastes just like a chicken. It's kind of like a moist chicken. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
John says, Florida almost paradise till you realize you're at the old lady topless beach. Well, don't go to that beach then. There's a different beach for the young ones.
You might be stepping on a nipple.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Anyway, back to tackle talk here, as we were getting way sidetracked here. I know it never happens in this show.
Yeah, tackling some nips.
Next up, we got Cameron Williams out of Texas. 6'5", 335 pounds, 21 years old, went to high school in Duncanville, Texas, which just sounds like a place that an offensive tackle would grow up in, Duncanville.
Yeah.
Like Dunkin' Donuts, dunking food, whatever. 25 career starts. 25 career games overall. 24, he had 15 games, 67.4 PFF grade. Not a very good PFF grade, that's for sure. All his snaps are at right tackle. I'm going to tell you guys this point blank. Every so often, there's a position that is weak in a draft, and somebody bull rushes up the board because of potential. That's this kid. Now, he was a very, very widely scouted high school player that just happened to get into Texas when he got there. Purely a heart kid, which you got to root for the kids that are the heart kids there. Wasn't looked at as a high, member of the roster overall. Happens to win the starting job this year. And people were impressed with what he did. Keep in mind, his first year starting tackle at Texas, where you don't really play powder puff teams. You play good teams mostly.
Usually.
That's what people are looking at, is this was his first year starting. you can't really look at him as you look at a guy who's been playing for 2-3 years, because this is year one. Go back to year one tape on half the guys we mentioned the first couple ones there. And it wasn't the best tape. That's what we saw for this kid. And that's people looking at the potential for him to develop. Meaning, by the way, when I say that, you're probably going to have to let him sit for a year or two and really coach him up and develop him. But the size is there. For all the people we've talked about in this list that played tackle in college, that are probably going to move into guard, this is a kid that you have no worries, concerns about. He fits the bill. He's the prototypical size. Yeah, and he's young at 21.
He's like that standard build you want. He's your 120 over 80 blood pressure.
Yeah. And that's where, like I said, he's going to be a guy that somebody's going to covet, because they go, you know what? It's a weak tackle group. I need a tackle. Let's go for it. This is a legit tackle. Just don't throw him to the wolves, guys. That's all I ask. Because I do see things on tape that I like. And I do wonder where he could end up at. But if you throw him out to the wolves, you're going to have issues. Point blank. And I don't want to have those kind of issues with him. I want him to have a chance to actually fully develop. Because I'm kind of curious what he develops into. Because, again, he's that heart kid. He's that kid that wasn't even really being scouted at high school. I love rooting for those kind of kids.
Yeah, he's heart, tough as nails, and, just pure, determination to get in there. So, that's a player, if molded right, can be a player in this in the NFL. Yep. Is it a long career? Time. Yeah, it's a long career, and like you said, Drew, you got to give him some time to develop.
Yeah, and I'm just not sure if someone's going to, because that's just the NFL now, But let's see what happens. Hopefully, someone does, give him a chance to develop, and if they do, he can really, impress somebody after a year or two. You throw him to the wolves right off the bat, I'm telling you right now, he's going to fall on his face. Yeah. He's not ready. This is the guy. I almost wish you could stash him like a redshirt season on the practice squad.
That's not gonna happen.
It's not going to. But I'm saying I almost wish you could, because that's the kind of what I mean. Sit. That's what I mean. This is a kid you can't throw out there. And it's hard to do that with a third-round pick. But if you let him sit for a year and you have 3 years as a good starter at the right tackle position on a round 3 contract, you're still sitting pretty. You don't have to force it. But I'm telling you right now, it's a 50-50 shot someone forces him out there. And that's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next up, a guy that has a reference in his name and his nickname as well with that, to one of my favorite singers of all time, Ozzy Shapiro at a Boston college.
It's Bacchus.
The crazy train. I do love that, because I can't help myself, but there's just something about, I don't know, maybe it's because of the age of where I was at, that he was already a legend when he was out there, and he was still popular with us when we were young, back in the day, between the show and stuff like that. Just
Ozfest.
Ozzy guy. Oh, Ozfest was awesome. I went to Ozfest multiple times.
Yeah,
multiple times. That was a fun show. I met a lot of nice people too that are bigger names in the business now. This is where Jay's gonna say I'm name dropping. I don't know them. I just met them. Jay. But I met the singer, what's his name? David, what's his name from Disturbed?
Oh, yeah.
Really nice guy. Legit nice guy. When you see stuff on TikToks and stuff like that now, where he's like, oh my God, look how nice he is, everybody in the crowd. It doesn't shock me at all. He was a really nice guy. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked as usual. That's Pops from Midland. Back to Ozzy from Boston College, not Ozzy from Black Sabbath. 6'8", 316 pounds. Went to high school in Boston. So we pretty much has Boston forever. So the Patriots probably draft him. 34 career games overall. In 23, he was second team All ACC. This past season, he is 12 games, 76.8 PFF grade, first team All ACC. All but two of his career snaps. All but two of his snaps the last season there were at right tackle. The last 2 seasons. For his career overall, he was 646 snaps at left tackle, 3 at left guard, and 1,483 at right tackle, where, again, like I said, he played the last couple of years there. Big guy, patient in pass reps. That's one of those things that I feel like people sometimes don't get the nuances of playing offensive line. Again, I was never good because I was way too small, but I learned a little bit of it when I was in high school. You can't just move the way you want to move when you're an offensive lineman. You have to wait to see what, to a certain degree, what the guy's going to do. And that's why when they say snap and punch, you want to snap and you want to get the initial pop. You're setting the tone. You're going to go ahead and kind of be in I'm going to set the tone for this whole entire meeting here. By the way, when I mean meeting, I mean that one snap. You have to do it again over and over and over again. So it makes you a good player or not. Obviously, I was not good at that. That's why I'm not here instead of set up my mansion for my NFL money. But when you're sitting there doing that, you're going to set the initial pop and pass blocking specifically here. And you're going to sit back to see what the guy does. And you have to respond in kind with whatever move makes sense for what he does. Whether it tries to bull rush you, whether it tries to jab you back, does he tries to push your shoulders, does he try to do a spin, does he try to swim, is there a stunt coming? You have to wait and see what happens to a certain degree. That's something that a lot of people who get very aggressive have trouble doing. Now, he doesn't, though.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. He is fiery. Like, you can see he plays with some aggression, but he plays with smart aggression. He's patient like that, but still at the same point, when it's his time to hit, you're going to feel it. He's smart. He's got good movement for his size. He does have some issues, I feel like, technique-wise. He has some issues with pad level issues. So, for those that don't know what I mean, when you're an offensive lineman, you got to get your pad level where you're level, but lower than the guy in front. So, when you hit that punch, you're punching him at the right spot. Because you want to get just below the shoulder pads. You get too high, 2 things happen. One, you're not as mobile. Your legs aren't bent and everything out as mobile to go at that point. But 2, when you go to punch when you're standing upright, you're easier to knock over because you have a good sound base. It's all about that base. No trouble. So he also does need to work about his hand placement. His hand placement's a little bit off. Again, pad level issues that comes with that to a certain degree. He also is a bit have some issues with setting the pace early with speed rushers, specifically them getting around him. So I think that, again, it's technique issues. I think he's probably going to be like a round 3 guy. I think he's the guy you probably want as like a swing tackle kind of guy, and see what you can do and develop him for a year or 2 and see what you got. And I hate to sound like a broken record. I feel like every single person I've said is develop him for a year or 2. Develop him for a year or 2. This is not the draft for instance starting tackles, guys.
It really isn't. I mean, we said it from the get-go, and we said it how many times?
Yeah, like that's where it's at. So, but again, I would have no problem getting aboard all aboard the crazy train here. Yeah. Looking at a guy like this, we can maybe sit for a year. Maybe take over for a guy like Jermaine Illuminor, who's on his last year of his contract. If we don't re-sign him, though, thank God that we're all in agreement he's good, and we can hopefully re-sign him. But that's just where we're at. That's the spot we're at here, the tackle position this draft here. All right, 2 more guys.
Almost there.
More than halfway there. Not living on a prayer. Here's the guy who's probably the smallest school guy that we're going to talk about this entire draft. Charles Grant at William and Mary. Like, that is as small a school as it gets, guys, in this draft. Do you even know where William and Mary is?
No.
I had to look it up myself to see where it was. I've heard of the school before.
When I looked at the notes, I was like, why is he listing his parents' names?
Yes, William and Mary Grant. No. William and Mary College, which is in Williamsburg, which makes sense because he did grow up in that area. 6'4", 300 pounds. Again, another little light guy there. Portsmouth, Virginia is where he's from, which is actually where my family was from many generations ago. My grandfather actually grew up there. I grew up at his drugstore that my great-great-grandparents ran. Get a little background on me there. So no age given for him as well. Another one of those guys. He started playing, though, in college in 21. Yes. He started playing college in 21. So you figure he's probably up there a little bit more, 23, 24, around that range there. Unfortunately, again, nobody's listened to the birthday for him. 36 career games overall. It was 22 was first team All CAA, which was the Coastal Athletic Association first team FCS All American in 23, along with being a first team All CAA again. This past season, 12 games, 91.2 PFF grade. That's a damn good PFF grade. But again, playing at William & Mary. First team FCS All American. All of his snaps, point blank, are at left tackle. But I gotta say, his tape is damn good. I just don't know how much of his tape is him and his, and his lack of competition, and how much of it is him just being very good.
I mean, we say it all the time with the schools like this. It's a little bit of both, but yeah, because I mean, when you're playing against the schools that are the nails, you're supposed to be the hammer and drive it in.
Yep.
If you don't, that's the problem. The problem is those are nails for anyone else that's playing the top 10 or playing, wherever.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like NFL status, like who knows if those nails are even like a thing.
Yeah. But I mean, he's got overall, it's 6'4". He's right at pretty much where you want him to be at the minimum height wise for a tackle in this league. He's got large hands. He's got long arms. He's athletic. He's got great lateral movement. We talked about that before, about you have to be able to kind of slide to the left, slide to the right, because you're setting that edge. No one can get past you.
Crisscross.
Because you're the last line of defense. Crisscross.
Slide to the left. Slide to the right.
The crisscross is to make you jump people. Wrong one.
You can say crisscross in there.
Crisscross one time. I think that's the lyric. I think that's what you're thinking. Anyway. Anyway. Got great lateral movement, but the big thing is he's got to add weight. 300 pounds again is not going to cut it as a tackle in the league. We said that before, but it's the truth. He does also have the occasional footwork issues as well. This is I'm sounding like a broken record here. Another guy that needs time to develop. Coming from a small school like William & Mary, there's going to be a learning curve, guys. Point blank, there is going to be a learning curve. But there's a lot of things that I see in him that I like. Like I said, the tape looks damn good. He's got the size. You can tell he needs to, like I said, needs to go hang out with the corral with Rob there, who's the maitre d' apparently. And
step right in. I got a table for one. Just for you. I had a table for four.
But I feel like he's a guy that, like I said, if you're patient with him, that may pay off. And again, because of the fact that he is a guy who's going to have to probably be drafted earlier, because of the fact that there's not a lot of good true offensive tackles in this draft. He's going to be drafted where he might be thrown to the Wolves too.
That's what I say.
He's round 3 guy.
And if you're drafting someone that high, wasting that kind of capital on him, you're going to expect immediate productivity out of him, and
it's not fair to him.
Probably, let's say it's probably not fair to him.
In a normal draft, he's a day 3 pick. That's where he's at. A normal draft. This is not a normal draft. So, like I said, hopefully, again, someone gives him the time to develop. We'll have to see. That's up to them. But he's going to be interesting one I'm kind of keep an eye on, because I feel like he's going to be the boom or bust guy. He's going to be the guy that comes into the league and flat out nails it, and it wasn't BS what you saw on tape. Or he comes to the league and you realize he was just beating up on weaker talent. So we'll have to see which one it is. Hopefully, for his sake, it's definitely the legit part, but we'll find out. Yeah. All right, we got one more.
One more
time. Anthony Belton out of North Carolina State, NC State there. Started college, actually, though, at Georgia Military Academy in 19 and 20. It was the JUCO route there. 6'6", 336 pounds, 73.6 PFF grade. Again, another guy with no age given there, but he started college in 2019, so that should put him right around that 24 to 26. I mean, I hate to put that's like you're getting to like older range here. Like, so yeah. Like it depends on how young he was when he graduated. Was he like 17? I don't know. But that's crazy. You think it's 2019. So he's been 6 years in college now. So he's probably around 24. Actually, that's 6 years. Yeah. So that put him at 24 years old around there. 49 career games overall in 24, 12 games, 73.6 PFF grade. Basically every snap was at left tackle in his career, except 11 he had at right tackle. Got good arm length. He does flash some athleticism. He's great against powerful rushers. He's aggressive, but he's got really bad footwork, and that's one of the biggest issues with him. The tape also, to me, isn't really that great. But again, he is a true tackle size, and that's going to force the issue where he's probably a guy that usually in most cases is like a 5th, 6th round guy that you maybe develop to where now instead he's going to be a 3rd, 4th round kind of guy. Yeah. One concern also, and listen, I always say it this way, we don't know these guys personally. We don't. But that being said, he was ejected in a game this year against Clemson for literally spitting on an opponent. I can't picture many scenarios where I would spit on somebody. A Bill Romanowski kind of move.
Yeah.
Remember when Bill Romanowski did that on Monday Night Football? That was bad. But yeah, when you're spitting on your opponents, that's a lack of maturity. That's a potential personality issue. You know, I don't want to say definitely a personality issue. He's a kid. We did stupid things for kids. That's taking a little extreme. To the point where he was ejected. They benched him for a game as a starter, but they did bring him in as a backup later on. It's the problem with being really good. The best player in your team, they're not going to let you sit for long. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't go near him for that alone unless there's something amazing in the interview. Because you got to wonder about what kind of person you're bringing in to the locker room.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, we don't know him personally. It's hard to. I don't want to pass full judgment on him off one move.
It's hard, and I don't know the full story of the game, the back, and like who knows what happened. Yeah,
I'll tell you who knows. Petra Farm knows. Petra Farm remembers.
Petra Farm's right here.
Alrighty, guys. That's gonna call it our night here for us. So let's see. We got a couple more comments we'll go through real quick. Then we got to get out of here. Jay says, Drew is a rocker. Favorite 90s song? Ooh.
So many.
Black Hole Sun, Soundgarden.
Ooh.
I'm a big Cornell fan.
Like, it doesn't,
like when a celebrity dies, like I was like, I didn't know. Yeah. That one hit me a little bit because I've always wanted to see him live and I never got the chance to see him.
Yeah.
Like
I kind of felt the same way with Dimebag because I was supposed to go see him when they were at Starland Ballroom last time. Yeah. Pantera, and then he died, and I didn't get to see him, and I was like, "Oh, well, I guess I never get to go see Pantera now."
I saw, ironically, we're talking about Ozfest before. I saw the guy from Drowning Pool right before he died, like 2 weeks before he died, because he was at Ozfest that year.
Oh yeah,
so
it's crazy.
Yeah, that was a little weird for me. And he says, "Do you remember that show, Headbangers Ball?" I do.
Yeah.
Andre says, "Thomas Runyon, JMS, Illuminor, Roten." / Ozzy would be insane. Again, I'm not so sure on him yet. Is the problem? Honestly, guys, I have trouble getting excited for this tackle class as a whole, and I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer or not. I really don't. Jay says, "Yeah, we need to draft a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round." That sounds good, Andre. He'd be forced to start. He would be forced to start this year either, or would not. Okay, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I think we're probably gonna get a guy like third, fourth round and try to develop him. And you know what? Listen, the Giants just are so great at developing offensive linemen. It wouldn't be a waste of a pick at all.
Yeah.
Is my sarcasm obvious? Drew John says Drew's favorite 90s song is "Unskinny Bop" by Poison. Listen, that song just blows me away. But I believe, isn't that an 80s song, or is that like just on the cusp of the 90s?
I'm not quite sure.
I'm not sure really myself either. So I feel like "Unskinny Bop." I'm looking it up. I'm gonna Google it real quick.
I want to say that's 80s, but I could be wrong.
Dude, no, it is 1990 on the dot. On the dot, 1990. Ooh. Like it has to be 91 or newer at that point, or 91 or newer at that point to count as an actual 90s song.
Well, I mean, like Poison, that's like right, like because they lasted right up until the Nirvana, where the cusp, where that glam rock kind of.
You think of them as like every rose has its thorn and stuff like that. And that's the 80s.
I think of beer. I think of Beer Fest.
There you go.
And I think if every rose has thorn, when after landfill dies.
Das Boot.
Yeah.
Jay says Dable from William and Mary. Yes, he was. Which just tells you everything wrong with that school. John says, and that song "Blame It on the Rain" by Milli Vanilli. Oh, those guys sang it live so well. Spectacular. I feel bad even like joking around about them now, because you know one of them like committed suicide
after the whole thing. Yeah,
like that's listen, horrible. But from what I heard, the guys didn't even speak English when they did this. There were like two male models from Germany that they just went ahead and said, "Here's a song, pretend you're singing it." Oh,
sure.
And what do you do when that kind of money comes in? You keep going. I would. Kidding me? Keep going.
Right till it dies. Till
that record starts giving out, which it did mid-song while at concert. John says the one kid from Crisscross overdose. I didn't realize that too. Everyone's overdosing. Sheesh. Jay says, you know, Bob Berto was blasting that "I'm Too Sexy" by Right Said Fred in his 1992 Honda Civic.
It was an Accord.
Bob Berto, LOL. Let's see here.
Or was it Boo Berto?
John says, I had a 92 Escort GT. Vroom, vroom. Let's say zoom, zoom, at least get the suit here. Jay said those were dope. I almost bought one 2 years ago. It was sitting in a garage for 30 years. Let me just tell you, do not ever buy a car that's been sitting in a garage for 30 years. It's got to move occasionally. Yeah. As we're talking more about cars, hold on. Let's get out of the cars here. Out of the cars. Listen, I can get all sidetracked on car stuff or all kinds of things. Jay said Soundgarden albums didn't have a lot of depth, kind of top heavy. I'll do not disagree at all there, but I just can't get past how good some of the songs were. I really can't.
Yeah.
So, and then even get past, even into like Audio Slave. That's why I said Chris Cornell. Like I'm saying him specifically because obviously, for those who aren't aware, Audio Slave was Chris Cornell from Soundgarden as a singer with the whatchamacallit, the band from Rage Against the Machine. So
yes, that's right.
So that's why if you notice the bass line is very distinctive because it is 100% a Rage Against the Machine bass line, especially in Coach Eyes, the very first one they did. But you know, you also have Chris Cornell also as now he mentions it, Temple of the Dog, which Temple of the Dog actually was the very first their hit they had. It wasn't even that hit. Oh, why am I
don't mind stealing
bread
from the mouths of jackets.
The very first album, the very first song that Eddie Vedder was ever on from Pearl Jam, because a lot of the guys from Temple of the Dog went to form Pearl Jam with Eddie Vedder.
Correct.
So Eddie Vedder was his first song ever. We're giving you guys, listen, we're giving you guys Giants knowledge. We're giving you guys 90s rock there. Jason's Faith No More probably goated 90s album. Yeah. That's definitely good. Yeah, Jay says Poison was the 80s. See, it was the 80s. It was the 80s. And he says that glam rock was so bad it was good. Exactly.
Yes.
Twisted Sister. Twisted Sister. Yeah. All right. We gotta move on about the music and Ford talk here. We're getting so sidetracked. Everybody pop a roll and we're gonna end the show here. So again, guys, we'll be live again for you guys Wednesday, Thursday nights. We continue. We are in talks.
We're talking
to somebody about potentially coming on the show Thursday for us. A former NFL defensive tackle to go ahead and talk defensive tackles in the draft with you guys there. I don't want to give up too much here. We've already kind of mentioned it once or twice that we are talking to him because I'm excited for it. I like the idea of getting somebody who actually played the position to give us insight and stuff. Because listen, he could be correcting us on so many things, and I would take it. The man played in the NFL, was a starter in the NFL even. So played 2 teams, and obviously played college football. I mean, listen, got a lot more experience than we do at that point. So I love hearing that kind of stuff there. So hopefully we can get him on. If not, we might adjust our schedule even to get him on. So we're going to find out hopefully tomorrow or so. We'll know that. So we'll let you guys know Wednesday for sure if he's coming on and who it is. And no, it's not Ryder Anderson, Jay. Stop saying that every single time. Let's see. John says, LOL, search show today on Google. Rob and Drew are known for their engaging personalities and quick wit, making the content both entertaining and informative. Listen, if it's on Google, it has to be right, John.
Yes, but it must be true.
It's definitely not them picking our synopsis of shows from different platforms we're on. AI would never do that.
Yeah.
All righty, guys. Again, we'll be live again for you guys Wednesday. We're going to be going over guards then for you. As always, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, X/ whatever the hell it is, X/Twitter, whatever the hell, Twitch. Yeah. And of course, Rob's my LinkedIn profile. And of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms as well. Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora. What just flew by your head, Rob? It's like a feather that just went by your head all of a sudden. I don't know. Anyway, if you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share button. Again, in the show notes here on YouTube and Twitch, because those are the 2 ones that like us to do that. Apparently, we have the link to the new merch page there. We'll also make sure Rob puts it up on the audio podcast for you guys as well, so those of you in audio land aren't missing out there. Like I said, if you want to support the show, great. We're definitely appreciate that, but we're not going to get upset either if people don't either. I promise you that. Again, we'll see you guys Wednesday night. As always, Giant fans. Go G-Man! Go G-Man! Jason's making a coffee cup. We made several coffee cups. It's on the page.
And get some beer. G-Man.
And a towel.
Thanks for listening to 2 Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.